Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Balaba Grivanadari. Gopi Jana Balaba Grivanadari. Yasodananda Braja Janaranjana. Yasodananda Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanacharya. Yamuna Tira Vanacharya. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Balaba Grivanadari. Gopi Jana Balaba Grivanadari. Yasodananda Braja Janaranjana. Yasodananda Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanacharya. Yamuna Tira Vanacharya. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad Brahmahangsa Brahmadakshaya Asadhara Sadushi Shiman. His Divine Grace Shalasi Bhaktivedanta Smaraj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hariva Slava Zarani Bhakta Slava Shri Guru Shri Gaurangi. Om Agyana Tivanandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chaksur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Sha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vidham Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prajana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakans Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabando Dagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishubhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakapa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranitinanda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 10, text number 29. Ya vira shukena rita swayam vare pramatya chaidya pramukhan hi shushmina pradumya sambamba sutadayo para yaschadrita boma vade sahasrashaha Yavirya sulkena rita swayambare pramatya chaidya pramukhan hi shushmina pradumya sambamba sutadayo para Yaschadrita Boma Vade Sahasrashaha Vira Sukhena Rita Savambare Pramatya Chaidya Pramukhan Hishushmamaha Pradumya Sambamba Sutadayo Para
Yascharita Bauma Vade Sahasrashaha
Yascharita Bauma Vade Sahasrashaha
Yavirya Shukena Krita Swayambare
Yavirya Shukena Krita Swayambare
Pramatya Chaidya Pramukhanki Shushmina
Pramatya Chaidya Pramukhanki Shushmina
Pradumna Sambamba Sutadayo Para
Pradumna Sambamba Sutadayo Para
Yacharita Bauma Vade Sahasrashaha
Yascharita Bauma Vade Sahasrashaha. Ladies. Yavirya Sukhena Rita Swayambare Pramatya Chaidya Pramukhan Hishushmina Pradumya Sambamba Sutadayo Para Yaschadrita Bauma Vade Sahasrashaha
Yaviryas Shuklena Krita Swayambare
Yavirya Sukhena Rita Swayambare
Brahmakriya Chaidya Pramukya Hishushminaha
Pramatya Chaitya Pramukhan Hishushmina
Pradyumna Sambamba Sutadayo Para
Pradumya Sambamba Sutadayo Para
Yascha Rita Bauma Vade Sahasrashaha
Yascharita Bauma Vade Sahasrashaha. Ya, the lady. Virya, prowess. Shulkena, by the payment of the price. Rita, taken away by force. Swayamvare, in the open selection of the bridegroom. Pramatya, harassing. Chaitya, King Shushupal. Pramukhan, headed by. He, positively. Shushmina, all very powerful. Pradumna, Krishna's son. Shamba, Amba, Suta Adaya, children, Apara, other ladies, Ya, those, Cha, also, Arita, similarly brought, Boma of a day, after killing kings, Sahasrashaha, by the thousands. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The children of these ladies are Pradumya, Samba, Amba, etc. Ladies like Rukmini, Satyabhama, and Jambavati were forcibly taken away by him from their Swayamvara ceremonies after he defeated many powerful kings, headed by Shishupala. And other ladies were also forcibly taken away by him after he killed Bhaumasura and thousands of his assistants. All these ladies are glorious. Purport. Exceptionally qualified daughters of powerful kings were allowed to make a choice of their own bridegrooms in open competition, and such ceremonies were called Swayamvara, or selection of the bridegroom. Because the Swayamvara was an open competition between the rival and valiant princes, such princes were invited by the father of the princess, and usually there were regular fights between the invited princely order and a sporting spirit. But it so happened that sometimes the belligerent princes were killed in such marriage fighting, and the victorious prince was offered the trophy princess for whom so many princes died. Rukmini, the principal queen of Lord Krishna, was the glorious daughter of the king of Vidarbha, who wished that his qualified and beautiful daughter be given away to Lord Krishna. But her eldest brother wanted her to be given away to King Shishupala, who happened to be a cousin of Krishna. So there was open competition, and as usual, Lord Krishna emerged successful after harassing Shishupal and other princes by his unrivaled prowess. Rukmini had 10 sons like Pradumna. There are other queens also taken away by Lord Krishna in a similar way. Full description of this beautiful bounty of Lord Krishna will be given in the 10th canto. There were 16,108 beautiful girls who were daughters of many kings and were forcibly stolen by Bhaumasura, who kept them captive for his carnal desire. These girls praised piteously to Lord Krishna for their deliverance, and the merciful Lord, called by their fervent prayer, released them all by fighting and killing Bhaumasura. All these captive princesses were then accepted by the Lord as his wives. Although in the estimation of society, they were all fallen girls. The all-powerful Lord Krishna accepted the humble prayers of these girls and married them with adoration of queens. So altogether, Lord Krishna had 16,108 queens at Dwarka, and in each of them he begot 10 children. All these children grew up, each had as many children as his father. The aggregate of the family numbered in the millions. Next text. All these women auspiciously glorified their lives despite their being without individuality and without purity. The husband, lotus-eyed personality of Godhead, never left them alone at home. He always pleased their hearts by making valuable presentations. Purport. Devotees of the Lord are purified souls. As soon as the devotees surrender into the lotus feet of the Lord sincerely, the Lord accepts them, and thus the devotees at once become free from all material contaminations. Such devotees are above the three modes of material nature. There is no bodily disqualification of a devotee, just as there is no qualitative difference between the Ganges water and the filthy drain water when they are amalgamated. Women, merchants, and laborers are not very intelligent, and thus it is very difficult for them to understand the science of God or to be engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. They are more materialistic, and less than them are the Karatas, Hunas, Andhras, Pulindas, Pulkashas, Abiras, Kankas, Yavanas, Kashas, etc. But all of them can be delivered if they are properly engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. By engagement in the service of the Lord, the designated disqualifications are removed, and as pure souls they become eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. The fallen girls under the clutches of Bhamasura sincerely prayed to Lord Krishna for their deliverance, and their sincerity of purpose made them at once pure by virtue of devotion. The Lord therefore accepted them as his wives, and thus their lives became glorified. Such auspicious glorification was still more glorified when the Lord played with them as the most devoted husband. The Lord used to live with his 16,108 wives constantly. He expanded himself into 16,108 plenary portions, and each and every one of them was the Lord himself, without deviation from the original personality. The Shruti mantra affirms that the Lord can expand himself into many. As husbands of so many wives, he pleased them with all presentations. Even at a costly endeavor, he brought the Parijata plant from heaven and planted it at the palace of Satyabhama, one of the principal queens of. If therefore anyone desires the Lord to become one's husband, the Lord fulfills such desires in full. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskadyade Siddharane. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sarva Dharma Brijaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja Ahang Twang Sarapapebhyo Mokshi Syami Masuchaha. That our problem is that we're distracted from Krishna. And the material world is full of endless opportunities to become distracted. Some of the things appear as, to those in the mode of ignorance, to those in the mode of goodness, those distractions in the mode of ignorance are not very appealing. On the other hand, even for a transcendentalist, things such as renunciation, detachment, cultivation of knowledge, etc., are not necessarily that appealing either. But they're valued by those in a particular mode of nature. So to give up these things is not so easy because we've been working since time immemorial in cultivating our material existence, which has culminated in our present material body. And our present material body holds so many desires that will create bodies in the future. So to think that this is undesirable for someone who's been working since time immemorial to obtain something, and then suddenly someone comes and says, this is not very good, is not very appealing. If you invest all your money in a certain product, and then someone says you've just wasted your money, the product's no good, it's not very encouraging. On the other hand, Krishna doesn't say that we should immediately sarva dharma parityajya mame kama sharanam, give up everything, because we're not going to do it. It's impractical. We don't even know what we're supposed to give up. We have so many desires, so many conceptions, that we don't even know which one we're supposed to give up. We just give up. If we had to give up everything, we just give up. Therefore, Krishna suggests manmana bhava madbhakto. Manmana. First of all, hear about Krishna. Hear about the philosophy. Try to understand what Krishna is talking about. Now, it just says, so happens our philosophy happens to be perfect. So it's a good thing to hear about. Namely, that we're eternal. The first thing we're supposed to hear about is we're eternal. Otherwise, our philosophy doesn't make any sense. If we're a temporary body, then we might as well act like a temporary body. As most people think, they're a temporary body. Therefore, they're acting like a temporary body, trying to derive as much satisfaction out of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending as possible. Of course, it may be limited, it may not be pure, it may not be very satisfying, but if that's all you have, then you have to make the best use of it. But if one understands I'm not this body, then it gives one a different direction in life, a different purpose of life. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Chintyam aparayam cha pralayantam upashitya kama pabhoga paramam etavam iti nischitya asha pasha shutarabhada kama kroda parayana ihanti kama bhogartha anyanartha sanchaya. They believe, which means most people, that to gratify the senses unto the end of life, that's the prime necessity of human civilization. So this whole civilization, we can see with all these cars, all these computers, all these bars, this is what it's meant for. That's why they've created it, just to try to gratify their senses. Of course, their senses are not gratified, and therefore they always have to come up with something new. That's why they always have to upgrade whatever they have. Whatever smartphone they have to get the new one. Hopefully that this will gratify their senses more than the old one. Whatever car they have to get a new one. Although the cars are actually getting worse all the time, more complicated. You buy a 50,000 euro car, and after some time, one little piece of the computer chip goes wrong, and your car is useless. It'll cost you 60,000 euros to replace that one little chip. Or actually, in reality, they have these electric cars with a battery. If something happens to the battery, it costs more to replace the battery than to buy a new car. And yet people think they're making progress. They're making progress in entangling themselves in ever new problems. That's their progress. And for every so-called progress, there's 5 things that go wrong. Therefore, manmana bhava madbhakto. Manmana. One should hear about the eternality of the self. ourselves, so that we don't get caught up on all the temporary things that are going on. Otherwise, one will be very depressed, hearing about all the problems. And in an attempt to make some progress, this just is creating so many problems. And people are becoming more and more animalistic, more and more dissatisfied, and yet they keep on going on because they're blind. Andaya tandira pagiyamanas tepisha tantra urudamiva. They're blind, they don't know that they're eternal souls, and their leaders are even more blind than they are. Therefore the Bhagavatam says, Swavidra hostra karara samstuta purusha parshu yat karna patiyo peto jata nama gada graja. That men who are like hogs and dogs and camels and asses, they glorify the bigger hogs, the bigger dogs, the bigger camels and asses. They have a leader. Everyone needs a leader, but their leader is just a bigger animal than they are. Or as Prahlad Maharaj said, Vimudan, they're an ass, and their leader is a Vimuda, a super ass. And they're proud of them. That you're just worshiping an ass, I'm worshiping a super ass. Therefore, even their comic book heroes, they're all fools like everyone else. They're also in the Bali concept of life. I'm Superman, I'm Wonder Woman, I'm a Batman. Yes, you're a Batman. And the next lifetime you'll become a bat. You won't be a Batman anymore. You're Wonder Woman, and it's a wonder that you're still a woman. That's why they call you Wonder Woman. So this is because they don't hear from anything from an authoritative source that's talking actual science. And even those who understand to some extent that they're not their body, they don't know what the goal of life is. If I'm not this body, why am I in a body? How did I get here? Where am I going after I leave this body? That they don't understand, because they don't know that there's a guide that can answer the questions. Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, and Paramatma within the heart. They don't know that we're dependent for whatever we're doing on Paramatma, who's giving us remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness, who, as he says in the Bhagavad Gita, Gamavisha Chabutani Daryanaham Ojasa Pushnami Yosidi Sarva Samobhutva Ratsatnakaha. That I gam avisha bhutani. I move the planets in their orbits. Gam avisha daryan teja ojasa. By my energy, gam avisha bhutani daryanaham ojasa pushnami chosidi sarva samobhutva rasatmika. I become the moon and I provide the juice of life to all vegetables. They believe everything's going on by accident. They say like that, but their lives they're trying to figure out. They don't think, let me stay at home, and by accident I'll become a millionaire. If everything's going on by accident, why don't they just stay at home and by accident they'll become a millionaire? If an accident could have created a whole universe, why can't it just provide a PhD degree by accident? You're just sitting there by accident, you get a PhD degree. Why do they work so hard to get something? Try to use their little intelligence to become rich or famous, whatever. So they're using their intelligence to create something, and the big creation, they say, is by accident, because they're envious, the person who's actually controlling things. And the idea that there is no higher person, there is no supreme person, that they're the supreme. And that the supreme, if they're not the supreme is something impersonal. And if you use simple logic, like your father was a person, your mother was a person, your grandparents were persons, and therefore, where in your family ancestry do you find someone who wasn't a person? Do you really believe that your great-great-grandfather was a monkey? Prabhupada said that my ancestors were sages. Maybe Darwin's ancestors were monkeys. And you're still monkeys. There's no evolution. You're still a monkey. So they don't know that this is reality. The universe was created by a person. The original person is the most person from which everything comes from. So all beauty, all knowledge, all strength, all fame, all wealth, all renunciation comes from him. So this is knowledge, this is actually science, but they deny it because they're vimudhas, because they're following vimudhas. They've taken someone who's insignificant, someone who's completely in ignorance, they take them as the authority. Freud, Prabhupada was pointing out that Freud, he has the philosophy of sex. But the pigeons are much better at sex than Freud is. Freud was completely, he talks about neurotic. He had so many neuroses. But if you become a hog or a pigeon, you won't have all these neuroses. You won't be neurotic like Freud was. So, in terms of Freud philosophy, practically speaking, a hog is more elevated than Freud is. But the aim of life is not to become a hog, or to become a Freud, follow Freud, and become a hog in your next lifetime. It's to become a sage, or to come to Dwarka, like these princesses, in relation with Krishna. This is eternal reality, that we're eternal. There's a guide, but he's guiding us to Krishna so we can wake up our eternal relationship. He's not guiding us so we become a hog in our next lifetime. But people are misled, and therefore one has to understand the three modes of material nature. And now we're in ignorance, we don't know who we are. Or we're in passion, we're trying to get something thinking that will make us happy, but it just means that we work hard, and we may be satisfied that we get what we wanted for a few moments, and then we become dissatisfied again. You see this with children. When I grew up, we had little toy soldiers made out of plastic. Now you go to some people's houses, especially the Indians, where we usually go and do programs, they have a whole room dedicated to the children's toys. It's just filled with everything. Because the child, he gets something, he plays with it, he just demands he gets something, he plays with it for a day or two or whatever, then he completely neglects it. So they need a whole room or a garage to fill up his toys with. Because he loses interest after some time. So everyone gets interested nowadays because they have no interest in anything higher, anything absolute. Therefore, someone says, I've been married for 20 years, and everyone's amazed. 20 years you've been married? That's amazing. How did you do it? And the answer is, yeah, this is my fourth wife, but I've been married for 20 years. 4 different women. And people think this is normal. Or they keep on telling that story, true story, one devotee lady, she was married, she was living with one devotee husband for 30 years. And they had 3 children. And one day, the Mataji went to her mother and said, me and my husband decided we're going to get married after 30 years. So the Her mother took her hand and said, "Are you sure he's the right man?" So this is the state of mind society, because they don't hear from the right source, they have no idea. Matirana Krishna Parataksatova Vito Bipadyeda Griha Vratanam Adanta Gobira Vishitam Tamizram Punak Punascharvita Charunanam. Matirana Krishna, because they don't put their minds on Krishna, because they don't hear about Krishna. Therefore there's no bhava. There's no feeling, there's no real feeling. If you call lust, anger, and greed a real feeling, it's certainly there. But there's no higher feeling. There is satisfaction for such people. Idam adhyamaya labdvam, imam prapse manoratam, idamastiyam apime bhavishati purardhanam, asomaya hatak shatro, hanishe chapuranapi, ishvaraham hambogi, siraham balavan sukhi, adyo bijanavana konyosti sadrishomaya, yakshe dasyami modisha, ityaganam vimohitaha. They think, idam adya maya labdva, so much I've gained today. They're never satisfied with what they have. They always want more. Idam adya maya labdva, imam prapse manorath. And in the future I'll gain more and more. So much wealth I have. And I'll get more and more. And the more wealth I have, the more I'm anxiety. Someone's going to steal it. The stock market will go down and I'll lose it. The price of the euro will diminish, and without doing anything, I'm losing everything. My competitor, he has $3 billion, and I only have $1 billion, so I feel inferior. I have to make more, otherwise my prestige will diminish. And therefore he's my enemy, and I have to defeat my enemies. I concoct all these people as my enemies. Either you're with me or against me. Simple philosophy. Either you love me or I hate you. It's a reciprocation. And therefore there's feeling, but it's all lust, anger, greed. I love you, I want to chew you for some time. And when I finish getting whatever sweetness there is in you, I spit you out like a piece of bubble gum and go on to find someone else to chew on. And I don't like to chew on one person, I want to chew on 10 at the same time. Because there's only a drop of sweetness in each one of them. So I got to chew on 10. And if I can't chew on you, then I hate you. You should disappear. You're my enemy, and all my other enemies, I'm the Lord of everything. Or I'm the Lord of a lot of things. I am perfect. No one can tell me whatever I do is absolutely good, because I'm perfect. I am the standard of perfection. And anyone who disagrees with me, who doesn't follow me, they're a demon. And I've come here to vanquish the demons and reestablish my principles of religion and protect my devotees. Because I'm the Lord of everything. I'm perfect, powerful, and I'm surrounded by rich and aristocratic relatives. Anyone who's in my family, in my clan, they're special. Because they're related to me. I have performed some sacrifice. I'll give some charity, and thus I rejoice. So this is all ignorance. They don't know that they're not their body. Therefore, because they don't hear from Krishna, their feelings are all very unpleasant. Yaji worship, they're worshiping this dead material body, Boma Ijaji, as the perfection of life, as the goal of life, to maintain the body up until the end of life. And then even then, when it's trying to hang on to the last moment, this body that's torturing us, we're so faithful to it that even to the last moment when it's trying to get rid of us, we're still, please, I want to stay here. I love you so much. I want to serve you more. Namaskuru. And they don't respect anyone. They think they're the perfection of life. They have no humility. They have nothing. And yet they're proud. And that's the happiness they get in life, is feeling, I am the perfection of life. I love myself so much. I am so great. I am so nice. So this is all false. They don't know what to hear about, what to feel. They don't know who to worship. They don't understand how great. They can't appreciate anyone great. They're caught up in their insignificant existence, thinking that it's so important, it's so valuable, it's so appreciable. They can't appreciate all the other wonderful things that are going on. And therefore they have no love for anyone. And after a while, they don't even love themselves anymore. And they think this is happiness. Therefore, Krishna says, Sarva Dharma Prachara, Mame Kamasharana. Try to focus your consciousness on me, and then it'll be revealed how wonderful everything else is too, because it's all expansions of me. Krishna loves everything. He loves everyone. And because we don't love Krishna, we don't love anything, or we don't love anyone. We just put a pretense as if there's some love in the material world. It's a pretense, it's a business deal. My back, I need some scratching. You scratch my back and I scratch yours. And we call that love. And if you dig too deep, I'll find someone else to scratch my back who does it better. That's called love. Therefore, here is in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's an example of what real love is, what real devotion is, and it's for Krishna. And as Krishna, he can expand himself everywhere because he's God, and he can love everyone, so everyone can get Krishna in full. The Absolute can get in full existence of love and devotion and appreciation. Everyone follows the process, as Krishna outlines. But the whole process is just to fix the mind upon Krishna and experience what real life is, and fix our minds on things that are insignificant and therefore always be disappointed. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions or comments? I can hear the clock, so I know everyone's thinking very deeply. All right. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande.